Peter Valley, FBMaster.com here. A very disheveled looking Peter Valley. We are here to talk about vinyl records. So if you're thinking right now, I don't sell vinyl records, it sounds kind of weird, I don't know anything about it, I don't want to know anything about it. I used to be one of you, and in the last 18 months, I've come to understand that vinyl records are a very, very under-tapped niche in the Amazon selling space. And I've been selling quite a bit of vinyl lately. I want to share with you everything I've learned, or at least the interesting stuff, not the boring, obvious stuff. So I went to Seller Central the other day, and I looked up when was the first vinyl record that I sold. Turns out it was in 2011. I barely sold any records between 2011 and about 18 months ago. I sold a few here and there, and about 18 months ago, I won't even tell you the whole story, but I got a haul of vinyl, and I started selling. I was like, wow, there's something here. And I started taking it a little more seriously. So I've sold quite a few records in the last 18 months. And what's really interesting is I haven't been doing anything differently in terms of my sourcing, barely. I've just been paying attention to places that I'm already going. I'm starting to see vinyl records everywhere that have been under my nose the entire time. So that's the first exciting thing I want to share with you, is that you don't really have to change what you're doing that much to start making money off of vinyl. Okay, so let's get into it. The 8 things I've learned reselling vinyl on Amazon over the last 18 months. Before we get into that, I guess custom dictates. We have to get some stuff out of the way. I'm an Amazon seller, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? What is worth mentioning is I love selling weird stuff. Maybe this is relatable to you guys. I get more of a high out of selling a weird niche thing for $15 than I do selling like a textbook for $30. Can you guys relate to this? It's something cool about selling a weird thing that most people don't sell and making money off it. I don't know, that's my thing. And look, basic decency as well as the Constitution of the United States of America dictates that you hit the link below this video, download my free book, Reselling for Rebels, 396 pages. It's the most insane thing ever given away for free ever in the history of the world. I've had clinicians send me to mental institutions when they found out I was giving away a nearly 400-page book entirely for free. Before they go to a judge and force me to stop giving this away, hit the link below this video, download it immediately, and of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You guys, listen, do you guys know who Satan is? Satan, right? Satan? Okay, so can we all agree nobody wants to be like Satan? Okay, well look, Satan does not subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, you are like Satan. You're essentially raising your hand saying, hey, I am Satan. Okay, so nobody wants to be Satan, so we can all agree on that. So don't be like Satan. Hit the subscribe button below this video. I can't keep it straight. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, do it immediately, or you're essentially Satan. And lastly, there's a much longer version of this video. I'm fitting 8 things into this video. I think there's 12 on the article version of this video. There's a link to that is also below this video. The article version has like the top 12 things I've learned over the last 18 months selling vinyl on Amazon. So if you want to go even more in depth, hit the link and read the article version of this video. Okay, let's get into it. Thing number 1 I've learned, selling vinyl on Amazon. Yes, people actually sell vinyl. This is a big hurdle for me to overcome personally. I was like, is anyone actually going to buy this stuff? As it turns out, I actually pulled up the stats here. Sales have increased. This is insane, actually. 50 times since 2007. In 2007, sales started to go upwards. I'll show you a chart here in a second. Since then, in the short, 18, 17 years since then, sales have increased 50 times. And they've increased every single year since 2007. Today, vinyl actually outsells CDs. I shouldn't have to tell you any more than that, but check out this chart. You see in 2007, there's a slight uptick, and it's been up, 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 and it went like parabolic randomly in 2019. And between 2020 and 2023, sales doubled. Okay, so for whatever reason, is back as a legitimate music format. Okay, so now you understand vinyl actually sells. What does it sell for? Well, there's more good news here. It's very rare to find a vinyl record, used or new, selling for less than $15. So if you're coming from the world of books, this is going to be really exciting for you because, again, 99% of books literally are selling for under $10. With vinyl, it's like 80+% are selling for $15 or more, at least FBA, which means the vast majority of records you're going to find, at least if they're not too like old or ratty, are going to be selling for $15 and up. Very exciting. And this one was actually the coolest for me to learn personally. This is a big aha moment. I think you're going to have one here too when I show you this next slide. Old common records you just find at thrift stores, sometimes even without barcodes, are profitable. And everybody misses these. Again, often because they don't have barcodes. Even the most common thrift store records on Amazon can have serious value. So before I pull up this next slide, I was sitting back thinking, what is the most common record I see at thrift stores? I want to make an example to highlight how true that what's on the slide actually is. And I was like, what is the most common record I see at thrift stores? And I'm thinking of picturing myself thumbing through all these records, and I was like, Billy Joel, the one where he's throwing a rock at a glass house. You guys know what I'm talking about? I see this record at every thrift store. And I was like, what is it called? And I was like, Googling. I was like, oh, it's called Glass Houses. So I pulled it up on Amazon, not the new, repressed, like remastered version. The actual original raggedy record you see at every Goodwill on earth. Guess what it's selling for on Amazon right now? As of the time I'm recording this, $18.95 landed. $11, $8 shipping. That is, and again, there's a screenshot right here. Glass Houses, the 1980s version that you see everywhere, selling for $19. That's merchant fulfilled. And that's an acceptable condition. I don't know why I didn't even pay attention to very few people are going to pay for buy an acceptable condition record. So a good condition obviously is going to be more than this, whatever it is right now. This should be really, really encouraging to you, like it was to me, to learn, wow, like the average random record that sold millions of copies actually has value still on Amazon. That's because nobody's selling them, which makes you, the person that's actually taking the time to watch this video, gives you an unfair advantage over everybody else because very few people are doing this. Number 4, cool, non-obvious thing I've learned selling vinyl on Amazon is that new records sell much, much better than used. Now, this is the opposite as it is with books. With books, used books sell better than new. They sell faster, they're in higher demand. Totally opposite with vinyl records for obvious reasons, right? People don't want to take the risk on a used record being scratched. A used book really isn't that much of a liability. The page is bent, whatever, the book's still functional. However, for records damage, it is not functional, so it's very high risk from the buyer's perspective to be buying a used record. So I found many examples where I ship used records in along with new records. The new records tend to sell much, much faster. And I'm kind of surprised. I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying you should not list used vinyl for sale on Amazon. Not saying that at all. I've sold plenty of it. But I am surprised. I was surprised to learn how resistant Amazon customers are to used vinyl. But again, used vinyl still sells, don't get me wrong. Number 5, non-obvious thing I learned selling vinyl on Amazon is that some records are actually better not listed on Amazon. They're better off on a site called Discogs. Now, even if you haven't heard of Discogs, that doesn't mean it's some fringe weird site. Discogs is a massive site. If you pull it up like the estimated traffic, it's like one of the top 800 websites in the world or something. It's insane. And Discogs is a site for music collectors, but not just collectors. It's just a big music-only marketplace. Kind of like Amazon, but just for music, right? And there's a lot I can say about Discogs. It's really easy to get an account set up, unlike Amazon. They don't make you jump through a bunch of hoops, blah, blah, blah. But there are 2 instances where if I have a record, I will list it on Discogs over Amazon. Now, I want to be really clear. Discogs is a completely different beast, right? So it's not going to be like you list something that sells within a few minutes. Like, it is not nearly the traffic that Amazon has, but there's multiple examples where it's better to list on Discogs than Amazon. Number 1 is for collectible records. And I mean legitimately collectible records, like records that only appeal to collectors. So that would be like really rare, like color vinyl variants, or just any sort of version of a record that is of an otherwise big selling record that would only appeal to collectors, or just an objectively just rare record. Amazon's not really going to be the place. Just like Amazon's not the place for rare antiquarian books, right? You probably want to go to A-Books or a site like that. So Discogs is kind of the music version of that. So a genuinely collectible record, put it up on Discogs. Collectors are not looking on Amazon. Number 2 is if there's no Amazon product page. So if you got a vinyl record and there's just simply no product page for it on Amazon, which does happen quite a bit, go ahead and list it on Discogs. It is almost definitely on Discogs. Discogs has almost every piece of music ever pressed, whereas Amazon does not. Okay, so how do you tell if a record is a good fit for Discogs over the Amazon? There's actually a specific answer to that. There's 2 answers, actually. Number 1 is you look at the statistics, and I want you to specifically hone in. This is the most important one. Hone in on the number of people that have the record in their collection, which Discogs list. If you have a Discogs account, people add their vinyl collections. You want to see how many people have it, and then you want to see how many people want it. Discogs has what's called a want list. And so if you want something, you add it to your want list. Then when it comes up for sale, you get an email. So if the wants are greater than the haves, that is a strong, strong sign there is a huge pent-up demand for that record. That's a really good sign that Discogs is the place for that record. And then, of course, on the other side, the other column in the statistics tab just shows you what the record sold for. The lowest it's ever sold for, the median price, and the highest price. So that'll give you a sense, okay, like what is this selling for on Discogs? So obviously the best recipe of all is more people have it on their want list than actually own the record, and it's selling for a desirable sum. Together, that means that's a record you definitely want to list on Discogs. When a record checks both of these boxes, that's usually a record you want to list on Discogs. Number 6 thing I learned selling vinyl on Amazon, I try to keep anything I list for sale on Amazon in the music category to 400,000 or better, meaning a lower number. Now I want to be clear, this is my personal opinion and this is not exactly scientifically based. I've certainly sold a ton of music over the years, but it's not like the main part of my business to where I feel like I'm really schooled in what sales rank means in the music category. So I'm not entirely confident with where I've drawn the line here. In fact, I'd love it if someone had a different opinion, jump in the comments. I just noticed when the rank's worse than 400,000, things get a little bit dicey and they tend to not sell as fast, sometimes ever. So 400,000 is my threshold. Number 7 thing I learned selling vinyl on Amazon, it pays oftentimes to list a record on the wrong product page. Now you're like, what the heck is this guy talking about? Let me explain. And this isn't for everybody. So that's my disclaimer here. A lot of you are not going to like what I'm about to say, and while I don't care if you don't like this, I do feel like I owe you that disclaimer. Okay, so now before I explain this trick, you have to understand a couple things. Number 1, lots of vinyl records have tons of different variants. So you've got the vinyl record, and then you've got the blue vinyl version, and then you've got the gatefold version, and then you've got the 180 gram vinyl version, then you've got the remastered version, then you've got the picture disc version. There's all these variants, right? And so the thing to understand is that the black vinyl version of any record is always the least desirable. Any color vinyl version is always going to be considered an upgrade to the actual black vinyl version. And Amazon usually does not have a product page for every single color variant, but of course they're always gonna have a product page for like the basic black vinyl version, right? So where I'm going with this is if I have a variant of a record that's not the black vinyl version, but it's some other color, I will often list it on the product page for the black vinyl version, knowing that whoever gets the record is going to consider it a very cool bonus that they got the color version, not the black vinyl, if they even notice it's a different color at all. Now, again, a lot of you are really skittish about this stuff and you're not going to agree with me here, and that's fine, I don't care. But here is where I will apply this trick. Number 1, if there's no product page for the variant that I'm listing, variant meaning the different color vinyl, if there's no product page for it on Amazon, I'm just going to go ahead and list on the product page for the black vinyl. Number 2 situation where I would apply this trick is if the variant that I have has a rank of worse than 400,000. So let's say I got the blue vinyl version of a Run DMC record, and there's no product page for the blue vinyl version, but of course there is for the black vinyl, and I don't want to take the time to list it on Discogs, or for whatever reason, I'm just like, I just want to get rid of this record. I'm going to list it for sale on the product page for the black vinyl. Probably sell it for less than what it's worth, but I'll sell it much, much more quickly, versus, of course, listing it on Discogs. I know it seems kind of weird because you really wouldn't want to do this with books. But with vinyl, again, I'm giving a cool bonus to the buyer. I'm not depriving them of value. I'm actually giving them extra value, okay? And again, go ahead and put your hate in the comments. I don't really care, but I know it's going to happen. Number 8 thing I learned selling vinyl records on Amazon is that finding the correct product page can be really, really hard on Amazon. But I've got a trick for this. So here's how I do it. When I say finding the correct product page, if you just have the basic black vinyl version, like that's probably going to be easy. But there are so many variants. This is the thing to understand about vinyl. So many variants of popular selling records. There can be literally hundreds of variations. All those different variations I mentioned, like the picture disc and the gatefold and all that stuff, right? So it's like overwhelming. So oftentimes you're not going to be able to find the exact product page for the exact variant that you have. And this problem kind of comes in 2 forms. So let's say you scan something and it just brings up no product page on Amazon. You scan the barcode, is just like no results. So now what do I do? That's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is the record simply doesn't have a visible barcode. Doesn't mean there is no barcode. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have a UPC number associated with the record. It just means the barcode itself is not printed on the artwork, or it was on the cellophane wrapping that has since been removed, okay? Very, very common situations, both of these. So here's how I address both of these. Problem number 1, if the barcode doesn't bring up any results on Amazon, so here's what I want you to do. Find a similar record on Discogs. Similar. Okay, so you've got a million different variants of a record, right? Find one that's close enough to the one you want to list for sale. Then I want you to go down on the product page. This is on Discogs. Go down to where it says barcodes and other identifiers, copy the barcode for that, plug it into Amazon, and see if that brings up a product page. And sometimes you can find multiple variants that are very, very close to the one you have, and eventually you should get a hit on Amazon, okay? So that's problem number 1. What if your record has no barcode at all? It's just not there. This can happen for lots of reasons, either to protect the artistic integrity of the artwork, or it was on the cellophane wrapping like I mentioned. Whatever the case may be, there usually is a barcode associated with most records. So with that understanding, just follow the steps from the previous slide. You go on Discogs, find the product page for it, copy the barcode, drop it into Amazon. The product page should come up. Took me a long time to figure this out because, again, I always want to list a record on Amazon over Discogs. Provided it's not collectible and the demand is there, that's always my preference. So that is how it's done. Okay, so you guys, vinyl is back. What did we learn? Vinyl has a higher average selling price than most other categories. Vinyl has lower competition than most other categories. And vinyl sales are only going up year after year, which can be accurately described as the Amazon profit trifecta. Love vinyl, and I can promise you, if you start paying attention, you will start seeing opportunities to purchase used vinyl, resell at a profit on Amazon. Everywhere. Okay, so you've got a 3-part mission, 4-part mission. Are you ready? Number 1, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Number 2, get my free stuff. Hit the link below this video. Get my free book, Reselling for Rebels. 396 pages. You're absolutely clinically insane if you don't do it. Mission number 3, you sell on Amazon. You need a repricing tool. I built the best one out there. It's called NeuroPrice, neuroprice.io. Hit the link below this video. 14-day free trial. And lastly, take what you learned in this video and go make money with it. I did not make this video to entertain you. As much as you love hearing me ramble on and on about absolutely nothing at all, the actual point of this video is for you to make money. So take what you learned in this video, go make money with it. That's it. This is Peter Valley signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next video.